Powered by Riverside.
All right, Poppy, we're back.
They don't want to see you winning.
You just won the Powerball. $2 billion. What's the first stupid thing you buy?
So this question has annoyed the hell out of my wife, and I really don't care. So this Mexican league I've been playing with for a few years now. Actually, this is my 9th season. I started when I was like 35, something like that. Anyway,
Young buck.
Case in point is like it's a dirt field, piece of crap, whatever. But the community,
The Sandlot.
but the community. There's 3 fields right there, but the community there is like absolutely insane. Like people show up and be in the outfield and be drinking. Hey, Santana, and they'll ask me like, "What's the score?" And people come up, talk to me, and my Spanish is terrible, but I get by. So case in point is, I would rebuild
Okay.
a complex with all those fields, with all that space, like stadiums, 3 freaking stadiums, like that.
Where? So
And I would build a house on the lot for the dude that kind of organized the league there, and I would buy him a truck, and I would buy him a heavy duty truck so he could drive around, and then I would buy a golf cart. Oh yeah. It's time. And then I would buy a golf cart so he could walk around, do any drag field, do any things he needs to do around there. But yeah, this is the first thing that I would do with my money.
I don't even. That's more charity, man. That's not really.
It would make me feel good.
Yeah.
And I would not put anything. I would not put anything under my name. And I'm not like a sorry ass.
I said stupid, not charity.
I said I'm not a sorry ass.
Well,
city council politician. I would put my name and everything.
No,
and look at it, blow me. That no.
Well, you're more. What's the word I'm looking for?
Community.
Yeah. Well, my stupid buy.
I'm just one person. Oh, talk to me about yours. What you got?
Damn, you're gonna make me sound all selfish now. I said stupid, so I went.
That was selfish of me. Well, my wife doesn't like the idea.
Yeah. But I would say that's more charitable. I would say I would just buy a huge collection of Chuck Taylors and Converse.
You know what?
Just like a bunch of just the blacks, the whites, the navy blues, and then like the customized. I don't know. I like Chuck Taylors. So
yeah.
That would be my stupid buy. You know what I mean?
It kind of reminds
definitely
me.
There'd be like a charitable aspect to the things I would do with my money. But
yeah.
I would say the stupid buy would be definitely like just buy a bunch of Chuck Taylors, like Converse, and then I'd do other things. Buy a helicopter, maybe a time machine. I don't know.
I've thought of some inappropriate things, and I'm not talking like anything about drugs or prostitutes. I'm like, I had other things in mind that aren't really PC to say, but I'd find a way.
That always covers.
I'd find a way to stay entertained.
So the other day, somebody asked me. I actually been asked this a couple of times. What's this? What's your podcast about? Like, what's your show about? And I was like, think Seinfeld.
It's a show about nothing.
Yeah, it's like whatever. You know what I mean?
Huh?
So it's like, sometimes it's teacher related, sometimes it's just random. That's the beauty of it. Is you start a podcast. Really not that many rules. You do whatever you want.
Do what you want.
So I guess what was our 2 rules?
One was don't get fired. Don't do anything to get us fired.
Yeah.
And the second one was
Just have fun.
Oh yeah.
Just have fun.
That was a big thing. We had we filled out a questionnaire, and that was something that was
Just
on
have
the
fun.
list.
So that's kind of like, let's have fun with it. People like it, cool. If not, hey, as long as we like it, that's the.
Yeah, people ask me what do you do? Is it any good? I was like, you know what? They will get messages, and we find out that people are actually listening. I'm like, wait, you listen to the whole thing, not just the intro. Like you listen to the whole thing.
Like what?
And they'll tell us stuff about the episode.
That's
I'm
cool.
Like, wait.
It's kind of humbling.
You sit there. You actually enjoy watching the show. I don't understand why.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, rule number 2 is just have a good time. So we're having a good time.
And I joke. Well, we joked about this before. I was like, this podcast has gone international. We've had viewers in London, It's, we look at the analytics, and now, I don't know if I mentioned this before, France. We have some listeners in France. So, kind of a big deal,
Nationwide. From didn't we have one in Texas, one in Oklahoma, or something like that?
A couple, Florida, Pennsylvania, whatever.
What does that mean? I don't know.
It means whatever
but
you want it to mean.
This is objective data.
It's just what it is.
They just fed us this. What does it mean? Maybe it means nothing, but yeah.
When we started this, we're like, let's just try it out, see what happens. And here we are, episode 10. So we're celebrating with episode 10 mugs, a little gift for you, whatever. We'll see what happens moving forward, but hey, here we are. So, when I think back to when we started this, 6 months ago, first episode, sort of to kind of recreate or reflect the current state that we were in last school year.
Yeah.
Like what we had gone through. We talked about what was teaching like before, during, and sort of the after the pandemic. We did a virtual. You were in your classroom, I was in mine. Sort of like to reflect. Hey, this. We went online for a year, which sucked. That sucked bad. For everybody. But we got through it, and then last year we came in fully in person, and there was an online option for certain students, but I guess today we wanted to kind of focus on what's it been like this year in comparison to last year at this point of the year, November 2021 to November 2022. What's it been like so far? So kind of get into that, because I don't know about you, it's pretty different.
Year 2 being back.
Yeah, online, from online to fully in person, and fully in person for a year. There's a lot of differences, even from then to before the pandemic.
Yeah.
What's been different in your classes since last year?
So I think I mentioned before that last year was at I think it was my 15th year teaching, 16th year, something like that.
Yeah.
But last year was my absolute best year teaching. What does that mean? Does that mean I was a better teacher than any of the years, or best students as far as just cooperating with whatever I do, or maybe just circumstances, they're just excited to be back? It could be a combination of all those things. It could be one thing, whatever. But all I know is, man, I had a good time teaching last year, and I'm glad there's not cameras in the classroom, or microphones at least, because some of the stuff that comes out of my head, all
sound bites
might sound inappropriate. Never about sex or anything, but I like to say it's inappropriately appropriate, some of the sound bites that come out of here. But the biggest thing that I would say, and I do notice that I feel like it's a little harder to kind of grasp their attention this year.
Okay. And
maybe it's because I'm a worse teacher, and maybe it's just year 2 back from COVID, and kids are whatever now. They don't appreciate as much being back in the classroom, or who knows? There's a lot of variables we're probably not really considering, but
yeah.
That's the first thing that I noticed.
Okay.
Yeah. What have you what about your side?
So one of the things that's been different, for me, and I'll say that my classes this year are awesome. The kids are great, but sometimes I can't get them to talk enough. Hey, you guys don't talk. We're hey, at least talk crap to each other or something. Sometimes they're too quiet. Yeah. Except for exception for one of my class in particular.
Those are the funnest classes, the ones you can. Yeah. The ones that really blossom.
Yeah. But this year I noticed that in comparison to last year at this point, I've been able to do more collaboration, group type assignments, because last year there was there was so much anxiety. There was so much still of that uncertainty that kids felt, and I know I felt it too because of that. And it kind of made you feel uncomfortable to try to do certain things because they weren't willing to do it.
Yeah.
100%. They're just and we were fully masked and everything, but there's definitely a less anxiety, and it's opened up the opportunity to do more collaborative group type projects.
Yeah, I would not have people get in groups.
Last year was more.
This year I do
more digitally based. Everything was on your Chromebook. Turn everything in online. And I still do that. Do that. But like it was.
I didn't do
less-
any group work last year. This
No,
year, you're
last
right.
year I wanted to. And that's what, I love doing that. Like incorporating art into projects.
Even
and
as
stuff
teachers,
like that.
when we go to teachers' meetings, we sit there and listen to somebody talk for an hour. We get bored out of our mind. We start texting each other, whatever. But when they make us go to station, like, oh crap, this is forcing us to interact. And we're like big kids, like. So kids operate in the same way. You get them work a collaborative, you walk around the room, do something. Like things tend to flow better that way.
Yeah, and so like there's just last year there was just some major like social emotional issues.
Yeah.
Like I've told you this before. Like the number of breakdowns, like just emotional breakdown or like anxiety attacks that I had
Yeah.
in class, like not me personally, my students.
Uh-huh.
And like at first it was like, holy crap, what do I do? How do I handle because it was very, and then eventually it's like, okay, you know what? The kids eventually knew that all they need to do is like give me a nod or like just give me a sign, like, hey, if you're feeling this type of way, go sit by the tree right outside my classroom, and then I'll come talk to you. And then they kind of had a buddy, like, hey, take your buddy with you and just breathe or just relax and just be outside, And so that was a common occurrence. And so because of those things, it limited me in the way that I lesson planned and how I carried out certain activities.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
but how would you describe like student morale this year, now at this point to last year?
Last year, there's definitely more anxiety. What is this? What's the COVID thing? There was some politics involved, like here on campus, kid here or there didn't want to wear a mask.
Yeah.
I didn't have that issue, but it's just objective numbers, right? Like it did occur where that was going on. My mind conformed completely, maybe because I had seniors, maybe because they just didn't care.
That's true.
Wearing whatever. But and then I remember I was doing Saturday school the first day that masks weren't required. I think that Saturday school maybe full room of like 36 kids, and I think like 3 didn't wear the mask that day.
Man, and I'm thinking about that.
And now
that-
only maybe like 2 to 3 per class.
Yeah.
Actually, still wear the mask.
People still wear it, and that's
Uh-huh.
cool. That's fine. But the fact that we were like kind of tasked with, now you're the mask police. God, I hated that. Like, because like that's not what we should have to worry about. Like, hey, we have a job to do, and that shouldn't be something additional.
Well-
But if you didn't enforce it, then it kind of sent the wrong message to the rest. And I was like, listen, I don't want to have to enforce it, and you let them know early on. I was like, listen, I don't want to wear my mask,
Yeah.
but this is the nature of where
Yeah.
we're at right
So-
now, and
so-
I'm gonna wear it, but like I don't want to have to enforce it. So let this be your warning. And I wrote one referral last year because for mask because the kid was like, he was just trying to be funny, and he's like, pretty boy, like I'm a pretty boy, I want to show my face, and it's like,
You're making a statement.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
hey man, I'm not here to play. Like, don't make my job harder than it should be.
It's a state mandate in the same way
Yeah.
that like a state mandate is a state mandate. So you could judge it. That's not. And are there rules in school that are unnecessary? Absolutely,
Yeah.
right? I remember a couple years ago, like I had a kid written up for wearing a freaking do-rag. When I first started teaching, I had a kid written up for wearing high socks. And so certain rules are outdated. So beyond what is dated, what's
Yeah.
outdated, what's good, we have taken an objective approach. This is a rule. This is not a rule. So for me, I remember thinking that'd be easy to do it. Look, man, I'm not here to debate whether or not we're supposed to wear these. Not it's a state mandate. We have to honor that, or like you got to leave, right? You can't just disrupt the learning environment outside of the state mandates. This year, I found myself being a little bit more mass police. Let me explain. So I had a kid coughing last week, and you could hear it. Hey, man, you okay? How you feeling? Yeah, I'm coughing. Itchy throat, whatever. I was at the hospital yesterday. I was like, red flag, bing, and so my wife tells me, look, COVID is still there. Is it an issue? It's still an issue. But what's more of an issue right now in the emergency room is more like flu issues and the RSV, the respiratory virus. That's more of an issue. They're getting like little kids sick, right?
Yeah.
So what I told the kid was, look, you need, first of all, you need to. He actually was wearing a mask, but I would have. But there's been 2 kids since then I made wear a mask.
Oh.
And I said,
Highly encouraged, yeah.
all right, man. So you need to go home. Like,
Yeah.
You need to go home. Like, it's like, oh, it's okay. I took a COVID test. I don't have COVID. Like, I don't care what you took. Whatever you have, I don't want.
Yeah.
Put your mask on, and I'm gonna call security, and they're gonna pick you up and take you out. And yeah, dude, security picked them up. Like, and what's the point is, I'm just kind of me personally. I'm just weary of not so much me getting sick. When I get COVID, when I get anything, like nothing really hits me hard. I have a very good immune system, but I still get vaccines and everything like it. But bottom line is I have a pretty damn good immune system.
Yeah.
But my fear is taking anything home to like my daughter or something.
Well,
like
remember
that.
when you got COVID in the summer?
Yeah.
What was funny is like we did an episode.
Oh yeah, I had COVID.
You had COVID during that episode.
Yeah.
And the episode before that, I had COVID.
Huh.
And I didn't
Oh, yeah.
notice it until like
Neither of us knew.
But after I'm like, you know what? I kept kind of clearing my throat out. I'm doing that, and then the next day, I felt it. Like I just had like the chills when I was sleeping,
Yeah.
and that was pretty much. I had like a runny nose, but that
Yeah.
was it. But I was fine. But you were fine too. But
Yeah.
you have a pretty strong immune system.
I got COVID from
I was
OTL.
I was mad that I got COVID in the summer during vacation and
Yeah.
not during the school year where I could have gotten like some.
No, we
days
got
off
COVID
and-
days, man. Take some
God.
days off.
So, but
Yeah.
I don't know, like, but kind of speaking of major issues like this year, what were some of the major issues that we've had this year that we didn't have last year? And that kind of goes with coming back to school, like
Yeah.
in person.
Yeah.
Like we didn't have obviously any major issues like because we weren't on campus. But once we came back last year, there were certain things that we were kind of worried about. Like, but one of the major issues we had this year, was it like a month ago or
It was
maybe 6 months ago?
It was the
Remember
where
the
kids posted like he's gonna shoot the school.
So we had those false threats made to school that somebody was going to bring a gun and
Yeah.
it became a huge God, it was such a pain in the butt because like the police did their job and they found out this was like this, there's no legitimacy to it.
It's no credible threat.
No.
But parents were still coming
And understandably
picking up their
so.
kids and I remember I think we were talking about it in our building and I think Pete hit it on the head. Pete Fernandez. He said, "Look, we have the information from our school, so we feel good about it. But let's put ourselves in the parents' shoes
Yeah.
because he has kids, and I have kids, and then if you have to flip the hat around. All right, parent hat. If I heard there was a threat and I wasn't on the inside of the school,
Yeah.
no one was going on. Okay, you got me. I'm gonna go pick up my kid.
Yeah.
So I totally understand that. So then that's kind of black and white. If the parents
And it was
want you
not
to-
once, but twice. Like there
What's the
was
other
the
one?
following day, somebody else made another false claim, which kind of speaks to their intelligence of dumbasses. Just made another fake threat, said and they kind of like copied and pasted a separate one from a different school, whatever.
Yeah.
And boom, they got busted right away.
Yeah.
But like it disrupted the flow, and I was getting observed that week. Like I was getting my evaluations done, and so many students were absent the days before, and then like the day I got observed, I had my evaluation done, students were barely coming back, so it kind of threw off like the pace of my lesson because so many kids were missing. I had to catch them up, and it was a pain. I mean, it was fine, but it was just one of those things like, welcome back.
I understand. I forget. Was it around that time? I forget. Yeah, I think it was around that time with that threat. Like one day, like 40% of one of my class was gone.
Yeah.
Like, well, guess today is a movie day. Because what happens is you have to go back and offset like how you grade stuff. Like you said, it just throws off the whole freaking flow. So like that was 40% of your class gone. That's a pretty heavy percentage. That you have to sit there work with. You have to create a lot more work for yourself. And so like, hey, Bourdain Day, kids. Today we're in Quebec, or I forgot what it showed that day, but
that's a beautiful day for Bourdain.
Amen.
So
Yeah.
the other thing I've noticed lately, more than last year, is that students feel like if they just turn in the work, they'll get an A. Hey, teacher, Mister, I turned in the work. Why don't I? I'm like, yeah, you did. So I was like, well, why is my grade? I was like, well, look at what you got. Like, you need to turn in the work, but just by turning in the work doesn't qualify you for an A automatically. You just still have to complete things correctly.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It just kind of goes like with this sort of. Maybe it's because last year was so lax and so just for me it was more like let's just get through the year. Like let's just get through the year.
And
We
so-
talk about learning loss and all that, and I noticed that for some people it's very obvious, but if I just try to work, I'm gonna get an A. It's just like
So-
that doesn't.
So on that note, when I surveyed a few of my class and I asked them, hey, what are some things that stood out to you difference between last year and this year? And so some things they mentioned was there's relaxed teacher due dates. And boom, it struck a chord. I was like,
Yeah.
so I kind of went the opposite. I told them, I don't allow late work unless it's excused or unless it's an excused absence. Has to be kind of some extreme thing, or if you come after school, or if you come to Saturday school, something extreme like that. But they got to make up the time, right?
Yeah.
But the reason why I do that because it's such. I think it's only like 15. All the classwork is 15% of the grade. They miss one. I don't give a crap. But like 85% of my class is all quizzes and tests.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you can make that up all day. So I don't give a crap. But my point is that I even felt that with grading because it's easier for me to grade on paper.
Yes.
Like sit there and grade paper. I grade, go through this. I look at my rubric, go through this. Flip and then boom, I'm on the next one.
Yeah, certain things
with the
for
computer
sure.
one, you got to sit there, highlight, make notes,
Yeah.
type in the right column, and then click to the next one, and hopefully it
Yeah.
loads faster. It is definitely more of a pain.
And I actually got
Grade online.
stricter. I've gone stricter with my due dates.
They do
But-
give you the plagiarism option in Google Classroom.
Yeah.
So I enjoy that one.
I like the way you said that. How you asked the kids what did they notice,
Yeah.
and what did the kids say? What did you notice different from last year?
Oh, one of the kids jumped up and like the kids are weirder. and no, so this kid won't just say stuff like stupid kids, whatever. He kind of went into it, and the idea was, and we kind of discussed it a little further, but we were online at home, pretty much quarantined for a year and a half.
Yeah.
And so, did that change us? I don't know if it changed everybody. We've talked about it. It changed me.
I think it did.
It's made me more of an
ways.
introvert. It made me more of an introvert. It made me okay with like not going to certain places or talking to certain people like that. So before, man, I'm an attention whore. I want to be everywhere.
I think it's affected everybody on a certain level, to a certain extent.
Certain extent and a different
everybody
level.
in different levels,
Yeah.
whatever. But like,
it was just a really interesting answer, and it triggered
Yeah.
all those thoughts. How did it change you? How did it change me? How did it change students? You mentioned anxiety attacks.
yeah. And then the other thing I was thinking about, like, you brought this up too, is sports. And if you're an athlete last year, especially like an indoor sport like basketball, volleyball, wrestling, the amount of COVID tests that they had to go through.
Dude, they were canceling games.
It was a mandatory thing. Okay,
Because like 3-4 people would test positive on the team,
and then
boom, they canceled games.
And
like that.
our school or in our district had COVID clinics on the campus,
Yeah.
and so the lines for the COVID clinic
Yeah.
was long.
It was
And
hot.
at this point
It was
last
like
year,
a year ago, right?
Yeah, and at this point last year, we were about to go into Thanksgiving break.
Yeah.
And if you remember, during the break, we go to Craig's wedding, Craig Lyon, right? Shout out to Craig. We go to his wedding, and after the wedding, how many people start dropping COVID? Teachers, it was a big teacher.
That was the thing, yeah.
And so it was just like, man. And then we didn't even hit the hard wave yet. Like when we got to December, actually January,
That's when my wife
we
picked up a lot of overtime.
came back, and
Yeah.
it was like, boom, COVID hit everybody except me and you.
I paid off a lot of bills.
And like,
I spent a lot of overtime.
like students were absent for days,
Yeah.
and it was just like, God,
Yeah.
it was crazy. But at this point last year, we were about to go into break, and there was kind of like, okay, we're going on vacation. People are going to get together. We'll see what happens. And expectedly, there were students absent, teachers absent. They got COVID. They came back after the time, but it was a trip, man. It was this point last year to this year, definitely. For me, it's been 9 day. For me, it's been 9 day.
And then
I couldn't wait to come back last year. Then now at this point this year, like, I don't know about you, but I definitely feel the burnout. Like
Today's Wednesday. Like I told you that. I walked in. I was like, you know what? I think I'm done teaching this week. And I walk in here, I start messing with the kids, and then it turns on again. But to where before you first get here and the motor's just going, get it early, I'm all inspired to create this and that. And now it's Thanksgiving. Yeah, the same way, man. I'm
talking to some of our teacher friends, and I have other teacher friends in Arizona, and talking to them, it's like, man, she's like, one of my best friend, she's a teacher too, and she's like, man, I don't know what happened, but this year, it's crazy, like in a different way.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is, but the teacher burnout is real. Like it is a real thing. And but you guys get all these timeouts. Like, yeah, you try teaching, in front of so many kids.
You can never convince somebody that's not a teacher.
It's like you don't understand until you're in the class.
I never even bother. I never bother. Just fine.
You guys get summers off. I'm like, come teach for a semester, a year.
You don't get paid year round either, by the way.
Yeah, it's like, you get. I'm like, no, you get paid a salary and it gets split up throughout the year. But that I don't know. I all I know is like for me this year is a lot better in different ways. But I feel burnt out, like more than last year. Then I don't know why, but who knows?
And liquor's not helping in the same way. Maybe it's maybe we need the holidays.
Maybe you built a tolerance higher than your usual.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I had a little more spots in my liver than last year. Maybe who knows?
All right.
So a new interesting thing was. Something's been going on recently, and I don't remember ever being this bad, but you kind of mentioned it. It was there's flies in the classroom.
Oh my God!
The flies in the
That's
classroom.
a major issue.
So I know there's always like kind of this thing with flies, but we're talking like Pete's room. I walked in this morning and I killed like 8 right off the bat, boom, 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 like that off the window. I mean, they're killing it. Right? I feel like
from the window,
to
the wall.
It's like yes.
Nah.
Yeah, don't finish the line.
No, man.
It's like, I feel like
it's crazy.
I feel like one of those Vietnam movies going through the freaking jungle and mowing like people down. But now you're doing it's like pop, 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 pop.
Like right now on your ceiling tile, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just from 9.
What the hell? I see that too.
It's like a fly plague of biblical proportions. It's bad. And like we walk around with fly swatters in the classroom.
All of us are at this point.
I'm like, I don't know what's going on, man. We need to figure this out because
the E building next door, you guys' building is a lot worse than ours.
It's bad.
It's pretty bad, but it's freaking gross.
Yeah,
man.
it's.
And then when you kill him, like I kill him on the desk and like blood all over the desk. It's a bloodbath.
Well, I had to kill a fly and I had to wipe it down with the sanitizing wipes or whatever, or disinfectant.
Which is great because we had that stupid advisory thing where you have to put something that unites the crowd.
Oh, killing flies. That'd be a great uniter.
Oh yeah,
should use that one.
No, but we have those wipes that came with it.
Yeah.
Like, perfect time. I need that.
True that.
But no, I wasn't. Actually, did I tell you what somebody suggested would unite the class?
What?
Like, what should we put? What are people are writing unique?
A word that would be a great term to symbolize unity
to
on
bring
campus.
everybody together. And some student told me these nuts. No, but it's not just that he said, okay, stupid ass kid there,
man.
Dr. Dre line, whatever. No,
got you.
But then he went into it. He's like, where do we all come from? And then somebody else on the side, these nuts. So funny. What?
I don't know if I would have laughed at the moment, but afterwards I for sure would have laughed.
I didn't initially. I smiled, but I turned around and like, if you're gonna say some stupid shit,
that's probably
please elaborate. But then he went and elaborated. The kid's pretty damn creative, and just his answer blew me away. It's not school appropriate. I did not sit there and put these nuts on the freaking tile. Like it's not appropriate. But the answer was very intriguing.
It's like if they ask you, "Do you know Wilma?"
It's not coming to me.
Okay, I'll tell you. I'll tell you afterwards.
It's pretty bad. Yeah. Okay, I'm in.
Anyways, but yeah, definitely, I would say just to kind of wrap this up, I would say this year's way better than last year. At this point, so far, but best thing we've seen all week. What do you say? Me or you?
Start first. Yeah.
Okay, the best thing I've seen all week has to do with my brother. My uncle and one other business partner, they just opened up a restaurant bar in downtown Phoenix. Downtown Phoenix.
What's it called?
It's called, the nickname my brother gives it to it is La Honey. La Honey.
But when they look it up, they're gonna Google when they're in Phoenix.
Miel de Agave. Miel de Agave in downtown Phoenix. It's a gem of a place. They hit the nail on the head.
Renee's gonna have a bias because this is his brother, so I'm just disclaimer. But just from the things that you posted, like
Yeah.
some of the dishes they serve, some of the drinks they serve, like, dude, this is kind of
The
classy.
food is
Yeah,
bomb.
it's kind of classy. I
Like,
would.
it's
It's a place.
bomb.
It's a place that I would definitely check out.
Yeah,
like these
for
fancy,
sure.
drinks
Well,
stuff
it's kind of
that,
like
yeah.
this modern take on Mexican cuisine. So, like, two of the
Yeah.
things that I tried, and if you have a chance again, miel de agave, downtown Phoenix, the empanadas gobernadoras. But the empanadas are made with, like, blue corn.
Yeah,
And the shrimp, the cheese, the sauce that's in it, it's bomb. That's all I can say. And then the tuétano.
uh-huh.
What do you call it in English? Tuétano. You put it on you can add it to your taco. Bone marrow. Bone marrow. If you ever had bone marrow,
Yeah.
like,
Oh, yeah, you showed me that dish.
It was so good.
Yeah.
So I've never had it, and I tried it for the first time. Like, everything you get there is really freaking. They have like this roasted corn on the cob with like the cheese and the sauce. That's everything. They have like this tomahawk steak.
Mm-hmm.
They like anything on the menu gets gonna be. They have like this sushi roll. I mean, I can go on and on, but
That's not like Vitamin. You know what? And
it is delicious.
see, and I always tell my students that are in the culinary program here on campus or whatever, I'm like, look at going into that business. It's one thing to know how to make good food.
Yeah.
But like, so I'll, like, for example, I'll smoke a brisket. My wife, oh my God, your brisket's amazing, this and that. But then I know like Raul and Gabino, they've done things like that, but competitively. So it's one thing doing one thing with love.
Second
but
place
when you have to
competitively.
pump them out in masses
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
then that's a whole different. And
it
I'm
changes.
not going to pretend like I could even touch
Yeah.
that. So that's kind of what a restaurant
Yeah.
is. So not only going that and producing these dishes for the masses, but then you got to manage employee morale.
Oh,
then you got to
yeah.
make sure they're not stealing. Then you got to manage the
That's why
customers.
you gotta have good
then
management.
then you got to keep up. With, yeah, it's insane. So anytime you go into a bad restaurant, like it's not clean, or
Yeah.
they
No,
don't
this
keep,
place
they
is-
don't keep. No, I
place
saw
is
it.
clean,
This
like-
place legit. But what I'm saying is, for those who have the idea to go in the restaurant business, like, man, it's no cakewalk. You have
No,
to. It's
it's so
it's you have to take it. All right, you created a menu. You created amazing food, creating dishes.
Yeah.
Now you have to take a step back and you have to really look into leadership and how to run a business.
Well, the
It's
beautiful
insane.
thing about being
so
the
props to
owner-
your brother, dude. Nobody has the
Oh, yeah.
huevos to make that jump.
Well, the beautiful
It's a
thing
big
about
risk.
it as owners is you hire people to do that. Like, but
Yeah.
you have to hire the
But-
right people.
and you got to
You know.
train them.
Yeah. Well, you hire general manager,
Yeah.
and they they went through all that process. So my brother, my uncle, and their other business partner, they've gone in there and they got a gym of a place. So if
Yeah.
you're ever in the downtown Phoenix area, miel de agave, la honey. Shout out to them. So what's the best thing you've seen all week?
There's, I mean, easily the best thing I've seen all week. What brings us together, and that is these nuts. So that's, I mean, I already explained that one earlier. But there was another nugget. Is that coming up? My neighbor, his kid, he plays at Lincoln High School though, but he like lives with his dad whenever he's not at school, and he's my next door neighbor in Imperial. And he committed to Georgia, got a full ride as running back. Number one running back in California, Roderick Robinson, right? Number one running back in California, recruited. So he's going to go to Georgia next year, the number one team in the country, national championship last year. Okay, cool, right? But they're going to play against Carlsbad High School for the CIF Open Division Championship, I think, at Snapdragon Stadium. That's Friday night. And they're playing against Carlsbad. So why does that matter? Who cares, Carlsbad? No, Carlsbad's quarterback got a full ride to Alabama.
Oh wow!
So how rare is it for anybody from California to go to an SEC school?
Mm-hmm.
So not only do you have one, you have a second one, and they're playing each other for the Open Division, I believe the CIF Championship this Friday. So that's something I'm definitely I've been telling my neighbor all week. I mean, even as this kid's scholarship offers been coming in, he got an offer to Jackson State. Deion Sanders chose Jackson State. So the kid walks out. This kid's like 6'2", 230 pounds. The kid's a rock, man. And like, it was so Rod. His name's also Rod. What's up, Rod? Hey, Deion Sanders calling us yet or what? And then USC offered him a scholarship. Hey, when OJ calls us to go golfing, hey, let me, like that, right? Just messing around with
the
him.
clubs
But
ready.
it's just so you don't really see that
Don't
stuff.
forget your glove.
Yeah. you don't really see that stuff around the valley. So just see this kid there, and And, you know, seeing an athlete around this community, it definitely stands out. The kid's 6'2", 230 pounds.
Beast.
And he just stands like a sore thumb. I saw him pumping gas when I was with my dad. Check it out. That kid's going to the NFL one day. I don't know if he's going to go to the NFL. I can't judge talent. All I know is this, you know, kid's going to just. So, anyways, side note, I was ranting on it. Whatever. Clay's got his team in the CIF semifinals against San Marcos. I don't know if it's going to go so well, but you know,
See what happens.
I also thought that when the Padres played the Dodgers, so it could happen. Could happen.
It's a good way to know.
Old
end
wound. I'm sorry.
That's a good way to end today.
It's gonna be a long ride home. I'm sorry, but up old wounds.
Hey, we got big things coming up.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Talk about it another one. Till next time. Take it easy.